charge. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Who's at the wheel of the ship is drifting, but the captain's at a party. Pretoria answer the call, like it gone to sleep. Adam Gardner stand tall in the harbor of Durban. The seal ships ride, the ANC plays a game of seek and hide. They call for the exercise in like the east wind, and point to Beijing and say they're the ones who sin. Joram was on the list, I guess at the gate. Now they say who invited them, it must have been fake. Confusion in the Union building, shadows on the wall. Now the truth gets buried in the marble hall. Who is running the land? Tell me, who's in command? Is it the suit in the office or the gun in hand? Oh, that from the Congo mud to the Pretoria street, the drums of the rock start to skip a beat. No books for the boys, no armor for the chest, but millions for the dollar. The go take a rest. And she speaks of an inquiry, a code to be won, but the days turn to weeks and the paper is torn. No answers coming down, just the heavy silence, while the heroes in the bush face no rebel violence. Sent to the jungle with no wings in the sky, only 3 helicopters, how can they fly? No medevac coming when they let us to rain. Chased by the rebels, oh the pride and the pain. No uniform, no food, no boots, oh wait, look at the budget for the big salute. P7, 2 million for retirement spree. Modern Navy is sinking beneath the sea. Not a submarine moving, not a sailor in sight, but the body lights are burning to the Pretoria night. The chief of defense, he's a law to himself. The commander of the Navy puts the stay on the self, defying the colonial, ignoring the sir, while the ghost of the fly starts to wake and to stir. And what's this whisper? What's this dark news? The chairman charged with murder, and he's the one they choose. Promoted to the side, for the dockets go forward. Is this the new story that's being told? Who is running the land? Tell me, who's in command? Is it Siren? Is it Langy? Does Ronnie understand? Oh, from the Crown Hope to the Pretoria street, the drums of the ropes are to skip a beat. No boost for the boys, no armor for the chest, but millions for the tenor on the moat in the rest. The generals are dancing, the politicians are glancing, the money is vanishing, and the soldiers are wandering. Who's the boss? Siren. Who's the boss? And King. The military's gone rogue in the sun. The parade has only just begun.
Breaking at this hour, at this very moment, folks, Jutta Leerdam has just won, well, it looks like she's won her lap here. The the Dutch Wonder has just come across the finish line with the lead time.
She's a 1,000-meter skater. She's a 1,000-meter.
In the winners 500 in Milan.
Distance of the 500, obviously, she's still accelerating at that point. If she had a 600-meter race, she'd probably be unbeatable in that one as well.
So Jutta Leerdam is now in the lead for the women's 500 at a 0.12 seconds faster than the fastest racer. She is just a stud.
The 500 and 1,000 at the same Olympics was American Bonnie Blair, 2 of her 5 Olympic gold medals.
And the woman is all thighs. Jutta Leerdam with 6,100,000 followers on Instagram.
Aaron Jackson and Berfemka Kok, if they want to dip underneath.
She just blasted away on this one. So let's see if that holds up for the women's 500 for another gold medal. She won the gold in the 1,000, and she crosses the finish line in first place at the moment with the top time. I don't know how many people are left to skate in this race. I haven't taken a look at it. Her boyfriend, Jake Paul, the crazy lunatic, boxer, whatever he is in the stands, very excited with his ridiculous tattoos all over the place. Thuis voor Oranje, that's what they say, us for the Dutch. Yep. So the Dutch fans and the watch party are stoked. They're chuffed as Jutta Leerdam and her bleach blonde hair as she relaxes on the sides here. Wow, I can actually see her thong through her skating suit. There are more pairs to skate. Now there's a Korean and a Pole who are out right now to skate. I don't know how many pairs are left in this race, but congratulations to Jutta Leerdam for the moment, holding first place in that race in the 500 for the women's race, which was won in the men's race by the American Mr. Stoltz, who finished also first in the 1,000. 4 races he's in this time around, bringing back visions and memories of Eric Hyden from 1980 in Lake Placid. The next group is ready to go, and they're off. So it's a short race, women's 500, only 30-plus seconds, but what a tough race it is. You're just sliding along that ice and thrusting with those thighs and swinging those arms almost the entire race. Oh, both of these racers are now in front of her. They're up by almost 0.11 second race here. This is amazing. The Korean is out in front here. Could Jutta Leerdam lose her position on the gold medal platform? It's coming around. How close is it going to be? The 28 seconds. They've got to beat the 30. How close is it going to be? The Pole is out in front now. The world record is 36 seconds. Not going to make that. And they actually both finish off the pace, so Jutta Leerdam's mark is safe. The Polish racer came in at plus 0.24, the Korean at plus 0.7. Alrighty, folks, we'll keep an eye on the Olympics. Now let's get to the news here. Let's get to the news. But Jutta Leerdam looking pretty good in that race so far. As I said, she is now in the pole position with first place in that race. Let's see if it continues, if she gets another gold medal. She is quite a story for this Olympics. What is wrong, Francois? What is wrong? Laura who? Who's Laura? What are you guys talking about over here in the chat? Right, let's get started with the program, folks. Thanks for those who tuned up. Apologies for coming a little bit late. Country Boy, thank you for your membership. Straight Talk, thank you for your membership. And Michelle Jordan, thank you for your membership. All right, let's turn on the alert box in case anybody wants to super chat or do something like that during the stream, so it pops up. But I'm sorry, but I love the Olympics, Winter Olympics particularly, and so I'm keeping track of this. Yeah, so the Dutch have won so many events over the history of women's speed skating. 1 500 medal, 12 1,000s, 17 1,500s, 13 3,000s, and 7 of the 10,000s. It's just incredible how many speed skating medals. You know, I mean, the Zuiderzee, what else are they going to do, the Dutch? But Jutta Leerdam on the ice now. She's just sliding around quietly, hoping that her number holds up. You can see a little bit of apprehension on her face, hoping that this pans out for her. She is currently in first place and a chance for a second gold medal. 2 more racers, and one of her teammates from the Netherlands is now stepping up to the starting line along with another Korean, it looks like. No, Japanese, Yoshida Yukino. And here we're ready to go.
On the outside.
Anna Bosemerama. Oh, false start. False start. And the American racer is getting ready over there. She's all wrapped up to stay warm. Anyway, let's get to the news here, folks. How you all doing? Welcome to the Sunday program. And did you see Marco Rubio's speech at Munich? I did not see his speech. I was probably sleeping when he did that, so I'll have to take a look at it. But the Dutch are in good position here to win medals in this women's 500 meters, so we'll see what happens here. Jutta Leerdam had a hell of a race there, and it was going on as we played the music at the outset of this program. So now they're getting ready to start again, and here's the second attempt.
Of the women's 500, Anna Bosemerama of the Netherlands, Yoshida.
Bosemerama takes off, and Yoshida. Bosemerama has the early lead as they come around the first turn, just 7 seconds into the race. So let's see what happens here. Both have a lead pace right now. The Dutch is 0.16 ahead of Jutta Leerdam, and Yoshida is 0.04 ahead of her. Let's see what happens after they got a fast start. That was a very fast start. Let's see as they come into the second turn here, going around the loop at 32.9 miles an hour, compared to the men who are skating at 37, 38 miles per hour, 36, 37 miles per hour. And they're close to the finish line. Let's see what happens here. I don't think they're going to get it. Nope, both of them a full second off the pace. I'll tell you, they're starting fast out of the gate, but fading. So they wind up they've got the photo finish here for the Dutch skater. They must have finished the exact same time as someone else. But the Japanese skater finished in 11th place there. So there you go, folks. And here comes the American who will be skating. She's not much of a contender, this I don't believe, or is this her better race? Erin Jordan from Ocala, Florida. She won a gold medal in Beijing at the 500, so she must be the favorite then.
She was the first American woman to win a speed skating medal in 20
Since
years,
Bonnie Blair.
ending a long gold medal drought back in...
So she was the favorite in 2022. She won it, so let's see where she's at now. And she's skating with another Dutch skater, and that is Femke Kok. She is a world record holder in the 500 meters. She set at 36.09. So Jutta Leerdam, apprehensive. Here are two more people who could push her down the medal standings, as she has gold at the moment. And she had a previous gold in women's 1,000, and these two racers could push her down. United States won gold here in 2022 in Beijing. And now,
with Femke Kok.
This is the pair of the entire field. These two women are the best skaters in the 500 in this field.
Snoop Dogg, like anybody cares.
To ever do it.
So let's see. We'll get the race going here in just a second, folks. The all-drug Olympic skit. That's funny. Here we go. Two skaters. The physical build is very different. The American has very thick thighs and very determined. The Dutch lady is much taller with thinner thighs. Let's see how it goes. Two top racers. And Erin is digging the ice here. She's getting in position. Erin Jackson and Femke Kok. Jackson starts from a knee. Now she gets up. And they're off.
Come down to this opening split.
Looks like a good start for both of them as they race down the track. Yeah, so let's see. Can we have the first turn here? 10.58. Both are ahead of the pace. Both could knock Jutta Leerdam down the standings if they can keep up this pace. 0.33 and 0.4. Jackson out in front. She has the fastest pace at this moment. Can she continue it? Femke Kok coming up on the inside now as they make the turn for the final turn. And Kok is in the lead now. As they come out of this final turn, she'll have the advantage in distance here. Let's see who's going to finish here first. Oh, she's way ahead of the American now. And she comes in first place. She knocks Jutta Leerdam down. And she sets an Olympic record at 3:36.49. 0.6 of a second faster. She just set an Olympic record. She beat Jutta Leerdam. So the Dutch are now in first and second place with the American in third. Unbelievable. The gold medal winner from 2022 might get a bronze. She could still be knocked out.
Jutta Leerdam silver. Miho Takagi from pair number 4 wins bronze.
So the American didn't get a bronze.
Valiant effort came up 0.05 short of the podium.
So no medal for the Americans. The Dutch get gold and silver. Jutta Leerdam does not get the gold medal. Wow. And she's beaten by Femke Kok, who she beat in the 1,000. And the Dutch go gold and silver in this 500-meter women's race. Wow, that was incredible. I thought that the American actually had she had the faster time starting out the gate, but she lost on the backside.
Off the line, Erin Jackson had a fantastic start. She got off the line so well.
But she faded.
Opening and all the way down that 100 meters. We haven't seen an opener that good this entire season.
But she faded in the backstretch and finishes off the medal platform. The gold medal winner from 2022 walks away with no medal in these games. She had a huge lead here for a bit, but then faded on the backstretch coming around there. And Femke Kok just sliced through the ice. Incredible racing here on her part. Just beautiful stuff, folks. Amazing. And she sets an Olympic record, another Olympic record set in these games. And the Dutch are going crazy. Erin Jackson is the first to come over and congratulate her. Got a big smile on her face, even though she didn't medal. Frustrating for the American women to come away with nothing in this. We'd finally gotten a medal after 20 years when she won one in 2022. Bonnie Blair had been the last Olympian to get it, but she's got a big smile on her face, even though she doesn't get the medal. But Femke Kok looking pretty chuffed at the moment. And Jutta Leerdam, they haven't shown her since. I know that I could tell you she looked apprehensive. She knew that wasn't going to be enough, and now they're hugging each other.
72. The Dutch go 1-2 with Femke Kok and Jutta Leerdam. First country since Canada in 1998 to take the top 2 spots.
And Erin Jackson finishes 0.83 seconds off the pace. Yeah, but Femke Kok won by 0.66 seconds. That's a huge difference there. Wow, what a race she ran. And Jutta Leerdam gets a silver. So congratulations to her. Wow, that's pretty incredible. All right, folks, now we get to the real news here. All right, moving along swiftly. How about the Scots trashing England? Yeah, I'm going to cover that as well. Going to cover that. Need rain in Cape Town. It's hot there, okay? Watch complete Munich Security Conference, and he was the only one who got a full standing ovation. Starmer got a sitting with only his delegates. I'll have to look into it and check that out. Thank you for that. All right, so good. All right, let's get to it, folks. Let's get to the news here. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done that already. First out of the gate, we've got Olympic coverage here, and Norway's King Klæbo has set the record for the most gold medals in a Winter Olympics with 9, winning yet another race today. This is incredible. The Norwegians are just cleaning up as they always do at the Olympics. The 29-year-old has won 4 golds at the Games and is widely expected to take another 2 medals. Wow. Norway's Johannes Hofsflot Klebo competes in the cross-country men's. Yep. He won the 4x7.5 kilometer cross-country relay to win a record 9th career Olympic gold. The 29-year-old has won 4 golds at these games and is widely expected to take another 2 in the men's team sprint on Wednesday in the 50-kilometer classic race on Saturday. Klebo took over for the final leg with a lead of 12.2 seconds and extended it to 22.2 by the time he crossed the line. France took silver and the bronze went to Italy. His gold on Sunday puts him ahead of Norwegian cross-country skiers Marit Borgen, Bjorn Dale, and biathlete Ole Einar Bjorndalen, with whom he shared the previous record. He now holds the record for the most Olympic gold medals. That's incredible. King Klebo. Congratulations to Norway. No miracle. Denmark can't quite pull off a miracle, but they did give the U.S. a fright early in the game. Think about the Americans hockey team, and you probably think about a ragtag group of college kids triumphing against the odds back in 1980 in Lake Placid. But on Saturday night in Milan, it was the American team stocked with NHL stars who were the unbeatable juggernaut. In contrast, Denmark was a ragtag team filled with European-based players and only a handful of not especially notable NHLers. For a while, it looked like history could be repeating. Denmark went ahead, lost lead, then scored again to go up 2-1 at the end of the first period. Tempers flared when a frustrated Brady Tkachuk of the U.S. ended the period with a punch to Oliver Lauritsen. Perhaps somewhere in the Danish announcer was preparing to yell, "Tor du pop miracle." Yeah, is the miracle on ice going to happen again? Yep, there's the punch right there. But in the end, there would be no miracle. Goliath beat David, and the U.S. led by a goal and assist from Jack Eichel, and the Golden Knights fought off Denmark 6-3 to go up 2 on Olympic hockey, and they play their third game against Germany today. USA, Jack Werenski there, Brad Tkachuk, and Jack Eichel. I keep saying Jake. It's Jack Eichel from the Golden Knights. With the return of NHL players to the games for the first time since 2014, expectations of teams like the U.S. Canada are high. U.S. won't want to find themselves trailing against teams that are better than Denmark as the game becomes more important. Yeah. So USA won yesterday. Michaela Schifrin has failed, another U.S. Olympic athlete who's failed to medal. She continues a difficult start as U.S. star misses a giant slalom medal. Expecting to medal in that, she did not. Norway now with 23 medals, 11 gold. Italy 21. The host, the United States, with 17. Stuck there for over a day. Schifrin finishes off the giant slalom podium. Michaela Schifrin finished off the podium of the giant slalom after skiing controversy across both runs. Conservatively, She skied conservatively. She heads into the slalom event as a prohibitive favorite. And I mentioned Norwegian making history. All right, on to news of South Africa, folks. The Western Cape is seeking its own vaccine. What? I thought only the national authorities could provide vaccine. Alan Winde is starting his own campaign here. Foot and mouth disease spreading across South Africa, severely impacting the industry. Duh. Western Cape is moving to secure its own supply to mitigate economic fallout. Premier Alan Winde spoke in a mass vaccination drive in Fiskenkraal, where 450 cattle were vaccinated. Despite having weathered the outbreak better than other provinces so far, the province has deployed veterinarians and animal health technicians in a bid to contain the disease. Today's vaccinations are proactive. We are in an area with several large dairy and beef farms that already have strict controls. However, communal farmers have free-roaming cattle, which increases risk. The cattle behind me are being vaccinated to minimize the risk. None of them tested positive. This is purely a preventive action. Well, there you go, folks. But I thought that this had to be a national response. So, Minister of Agriculture John Steenhuisen, how is it that your DA member Alan Winde can vaccinate cattle in the Western Cape? I'm not complaining that they're doing it, but how is it when you tell the farmers in Northwest and the farmers in Gauteng and the farmers in KZN that they're not allowed to do it? Why are farmers having their cattle vaccinated in the Western Cape without your oversight? Minister of Agriculture, inquiring minds want to know. Please answer the question, John Steenhuisen. Answer the question. Well, the South African National Defense Force has quietly allowed 2 generals, please spare me, no talent whatsoever, to retire despite 100 million rand corruption cloud hanging over their heads. Since 2017, Major General Nontobeko Mpaksa, Brigadier General Sidi Mdulwa, and Colonel Kasao Rasolomane faced 26 charges, including irregular orders. Advocate P.K. Greff says the case can still go to the police and ordinary courts retain jurisdiction. Spokesperson says military can't withhold them, but Section 37D of the Pension Funds Act allows the state to claw back losses. The two generals, including the so-called spitting Major General Mpaksa, were allowed to retire after the military reportedly lifted their suspensions. In doing so, the military has apparently swept its corruption cases, allegedly amounting to more than 100 million rand, under the rug. The case against Mpaksa was dragged on since 2017 when she, together with Brigadier General Sidi Mlula and Colonel Rasalamane, were charged. They faced 26 charges, 13 of which applied only to her. From 2007 to 2013, she was the general officer commanding the Combat Training Center at Lokhatla, with the other two as her subordinates. Later, Mlula was appointed to the same post. According to court papers, she ran a business that supplied ration packs to the military. Two companies were registered in her name, Tabisa Sile Holdings and Kusile Products. The latter used the address of the South African Intelligence College in Pretoria, where she was also a commander. During her time at Lokhatla, she was also the defendant in a civil case brought by the late warrant officer at Milan, then one of her subordinates. She and Milan often clashed, and she had him arrested. During the arrest, the military police handled him so rough that his arm was broken and he suffered a neck spasm. She allegedly also stormed into the examination room of the sick bay while he was being examined his injuries, scolded him, and took photos. Pretoria High Court ruled in his favor in a subsequent civil case. The Minister of Defense had to pay 330,000 rand in damages. He died 2 years later. She was later promoted after having a man assaulted. This is a general. You send thugs to beat up your subordinates, and then you harass them in hospital, and you have a judgment against you, and you get promoted. What kind of gangster operation is the SANDF running? Who runs SANDF? Who's responsible for this garbage happening in South Africa? It's not a real military. She was promoted and transferred to Pretoria. She was widely seen as a favorite to become the first female army chief, despite a 2008 case in which she was arrested for drunk driving in Kimberley. She's a drunk. She's a drunk. She had a DUI. She stole millions of rand. She ran businesses that sold things to the government with a conflict of interest. She had her thugs beat up one of her subordinates. This is the military? The military suspended her co-accused. They were arrested over the alleged corruption. The three said they would approach the High Court with a review application. The trial nevertheless continued until November 2021 when the military court postponed the case indefinitely, pending a High Court ruling. Wow. According to advocate Piki Kref of the South African National Defense Union, there have been several past cases where the military was so determined to see cases through that individuals were retained as reserve force members until matters were concluded. Accused awaiting trial in the military can, in any case, only leave service, whether 60 or not, if the defense force chief authorizes it. That's the law. Wow. They don't lose jurisdiction in a case like this against her. Nothing stops the military from referring the doc to the police or ordinary criminal courts. Wow. This is insanity. This is insanity. This is a joke. This is not a real military. This is not a real military. No, I know it's nothing new, Mari. I'm very familiar with it. But we don't get many stories reported. A judge accused of theft spends 2 years on special leave and no complaint lodged against him. Free State High Court Judge Mpina Matabula has been on special leave since 2023 after being charged with theft, money laundering, and contempt of court. The charges stem from alleged misappropriation of more than 1.3 million of road accident fund money handled by his former law firm. Despite the pending criminal proceedings, it appears no complaint has been lodged against him with the Judicial Services Commission. Well, why would it be? Because idiots like Julius Malema are part of the Judicial Services Commission. Wow. Wow. A Free State judge has spent the last 2 years in special leave pending criminal charges. His attempts to stay the prosecution have been dismissed, but there appears to be no inquiry into his fitness to hold office. Seriously? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This is unbelievable, the corruption that takes place in South Africa. And we're not done. The Comedy Party, also known as Mkhonto we Sizwe, appropriating the name from the ANC, MK member of parliament is elevated to chief whip despite facing extortion and fraud charges. The MK Party's newly appointed National Assembly Chief Whip, Mbabato Mokoena Zondi, stands accused of corruption. A party disciplinary panel allegedly recommended immediate expulsion for the MP. A year-long police investigation has been confirmed, but no action has been taken. Parliamentary insiders have raised concerns about one person holding both the National Council of Provinces whip position and National Assembly caretaker role. Western Cape Police have confirmed they are investigating extortion cases laid against newly elected Mkhonto we Sizwe parliamentary whip, Mbabato Mokoena Zondi. But despite the charges being laid over a year ago, she has not only avoided criminal prosecution, she's been elevated to senior parliamentary position within the MK Party. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. City Press also learned from MK Party sources and a disciplinary report that she had been charged internally by the party and recommended for removal. But a party spokesman has vehemently denied this. She was sworn in as a member of the National Assembly after serving the party's National Council of Provinces acting whip on Friday. The fraud and corruption case was opened against her at Cape Town Central Police Station more than a year ago, yet no arrests have been made. Wow. Working for MK Party is a good gig if you can get it, man. Corruption, corruption, everywhere you look. Everywhere you look. You really can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is a comedy show in itself. The level of corruption that's been allowed to persist in South Africa under the regime of Cyril Ramaphosa is shocking. Please see a telegram from me, says Pat. Well, I'm glad you reminded that, Pat, because I don't usually look too much at the telegram. So let me see if it's under Pat's. P-A-T-S. Pat's. You want me to add this to the news? Okay. I got to prove I'm not a bot. Got to prove I'm not a bot. I didn't go to Business Tech today. Oh, I covered that already. That's Tongat Hewlett. I've covered Tongat Hewlett. Yeah, I've covered that yesterday. But thank you for the super chat. I'll put it in the queue here at the end. It'll be after the sports, okay? All right. Yeah, Pats, I've covered that story. I covered that story. Yep. I mean, look, you can't make this stuff up. This woman is accused of corruption. I mean, this never ends. Never ends. Illicit booze and water shortages are plaguing South African breweries. 20% of South Africa's drinks are illegal as bootleggers get more organized. SAB says this year's sales are off to a steady start and is optimistic it will maintain and continue growing its market share across most of its key brands. The maker of a range of beer brands including Castle Lager, Carling Black Label, and Lion, as well as beyond beer categories for ciders, Flying Fish, Reds, and Brutal Fruit, reported improved sales and volume growth in a year the industry was battered by the proliferation of illicit alcohol. SAB CEO Richard Rivet Carnac said the performance was led by premium and super premium beer brands, which grew volumes by high single digits. But they're being buffeted by this illicit alcohol, one of the biggest challenges for the industry. We did some research showing that 1 in 5 drinks consumed in South Africa is illicit. It's a serious problem. We're seeing that the illicit players are more organized and professional. Yep, that's true. So they are not faring well. Well, a judge upholds the mental psychiatric evaluation order for Louis Liebenberg. Alleged diamond dealer, well, he's not an alleged diamond dealer, he is a diamond dealer. I don't know why you call him alleged. He's not alleged, he's a diamond dealer. Diamond dealer Louis Liebenberg will have to face a stint of 30 days mental health evaluation at Pretoria's Westkoppies Hospital after the Gauteng High Court dismissed his urgent application to have that order overturned. Judge Mandla Mwongwe found that it is in Liebenberg's constitutional interest to be mentally evaluated at this stage rather than later in the trial. He further found the magistrate who had referred him for observation acted within the prescripts of the Criminal Procedure Act. Liebenberg had argued the magistrate's order referring to evaluation constitutes a gross irregularity in his criminal proceedings. It does not. It does not. The court heard that as things stood last week, it would take between 1 and 2 months before a bed is available, and he is number 41 on the waiting list to be admitted. According to Liebenberg, his referral to Westkoppies also impacts his co-accused as their trial cannot proceed without him. He said the preliminary hearing of the criminal trial has been scheduled for April with the main trial set for October. His lawyer, Charlene Eckstein, meanwhile, said the referral order was not based on medical evidence, but on the magistrate's own assessment of Liebenberg. Interesting. Well, according to News 24, which loves to carry the water for Cyril Ramaphosa, government has a pro-business attitude. Really? That's not what I see. President Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address focused on private sector in unprecedented ways. Analysts believe the emphasis on delivery will boost investment and consumer confidence. However, the president failed to explain how the government will fund its more ambitious plans to rescue the struggling manufacturing sector. No, it didn't, because he has no plan. It's just talk, endless talk. Nonsense. Well, Hilton apparently hasn't left the South African market after the well-noted closure of its property in Durban. It's still there. One door closes, another opens. Hilton Group announces 4 new hotels are in development. The country's 4 hotels country continue to welcome guests, and they're going to open 4 more. Wow. The African-American Properties Hotel in Durban cut their links to Durban, to Hilton, but they're still active. Their portfolio already includes 4 properties, include the Hilton Sant in Grayston, the Hilton Garden Inn Umhlanga, the Doubletree by Hilton in Cape Town, and the Canopy by Hilton Cape Town in Lungkloof. Yep. So they're going to open 4 more properties. It doesn't say where. Well, if you're a cricket fan, South Africa had a big win. Markham mauled New Zealand in a 7-wicket T20 win. Captain Aidan Markham hits an unbeaten 86 and 7-wicket defeat of New Zealand in Ahmedabad. South Africa on the brink of reaching the T20 World Cup Super Elite stage after Captain Aidan Markram's storming half-century led them to a dominant 7-wicket victory over New Zealand, securing their third straight Group D win. New Zealand on Saturday suffered their first loss of the campaign after they posted a 175/7 as South Africa's Marco Jansen took 4 wickets. Wow. So congratulations. South Africa will conclude their group campaign against UAE on Wednesday, a day after New Zealand played Canada for their final match. And that's the story that I was asked to put up here. The historic 134-year-old South African company will be liquidated. Tongaat Hewlett, the sugar manufacturer, is officially shutting down, with the business rescue practitioners having exhausted all possible avenues to save the company. Yep, this is a sugar giant that's been in business since 1892. Well done, ANC. Another destruction. Yep. Tongaat Hewlett's roots in South Africa date back to the 1850s, actually. The formal incorporation of its predecessor companies, Sir J.L. Hewlett and Sons and Tongaat Sugar, occurred in 1892. Tongaat entered business rescue in October 2022 following major accounting irregularities, financial misstatements, and governance failures under former senior management. Roughly $12 billion in shareholder value was destroyed, with the balance sheet, credibility, and access to funding all being massively impacted. Wow. 11.7 billion rand is being demanded. That's a shame. Tongaat Hewlett, been around forever. Well, Peter Bruce says that Cyril Ramaphosa will appoint another task team, rather derisively, as I said on my Biz News interview and on my program prior to that. Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address hit on all the right notes. I don't agree with that, Peter. It didn't hit on any proper notes. It's all BS. The guy just talks out of his mouth and nothing gets delivered. Yep. We are restructuring ESCOM and establishing a fully independent transmission entity. This entity will have ownership and control of transmission assets and responsible for the electricity transmission market. Except the transmission entity can't deliver electricity if the generation unit doesn't provide it. So it will go bankrupt because the generation unit can't generate electricity. This is a stupid concept. How dumb do they think people are? You don't make companies that just transmit electricity, then one's dependent on the other. You have a fully integrated, vertically integrated company that has the generation, the transmission, and the delivery of electricity. And you just create regional powers. Stupid people. These ANC are dumb. The entire speech was like this. He made typically dozens of promises, none of which have even remotely funded, and some of his bragging was childish. Our economy is growing again, and that growth is gathering pace, he said in a storming introduction, except it isn't. Duma Kopele, who has these numbers at his fingertips, remind us that GDP growth in the last 4 quarters has been 0.4, 0.1, 0.9, and 0.5, which is what I've told you. You had GDP growth of 5% in the past year. He lied and said it was 1.3%. And of course, you know, his lackey, John Steenhuisen, said the same thing in his victory lap when he said he's not going to run. You know, I love when people take victory laps when they're basically resigning. It was pretty funny. Yep. Hugh Jones stars for Scotland as it rights the ship and winds up in first place pending today's test. Let's take a look and see what happened in the other test. So the women's 500 is wrapped up now, it looks like. There's Jutta Leerdam. She's kind of a hottie. Let's go look and see what the final score is in the France game. I picked them to win by 40 over Wales. Let's see. Let's see what the score is. 54-12, and it's full time. I picked them to win by 40, so I think I got both points. Flesh it, are you here? I picked France to win by 40 points. They won by 42. No way. No way. I can't believe I've never done that before. Let's go check my Super Bowl. It makes up for picking England over Scotland. But I was just going with the odds there. I was hoping Scotland could win, but I was just going with the odds. Oh, my goodness. Dashboard. Man. Oh, that is so cool. So cool. Yeah, I picked France by 40 and got both points. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Wow, look at that, man. And they won by 12 points, and I picked them. They won by 42 points. I picked them by 40. What are the odds? What are the odds? Anyway, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Whoops, that's a women's 500. On the medal stand, yep. Femke Kok and Jutta Leerdam crowd leaving the ice arena now. A lot of Dutch hanging around as they all leave the stadium. Yep, look at this. Hugh Jones, stars for Scotland. He gets a brace of tries. He was brilliant. So was Kyle Sten. Probably his best game ever. Finn Russell was also brilliant. Yeah, England's ill discipline was their downfall, which sometimes something Steve Borthwick will have to put on the agenda to be addressed when they go back to the drawing board. Yep. Henry Arundel got himself a red card because he got a second yellow card, and he went out for a 20-minute red card. Took out Kyle Sten in an aerial contest. Yep. It was so Scotland now finds itself atop the rankings until France, which just won. France will get a bonus point victory to take them at 10 points. So France will have a commanding lead now in the Six Nations, with Scotland second at 6, England third at 5, Italy fourth at 5, Ireland in 5th place with 4 points, and Wales with no points. No points. Wow. Wales is not having a good go over here. Just 2 games in. They don't go away like they used to, folks. Boy, the Italians just won't go away. They had this game in their grasp, too. But some poor decision-making and some poor execution late cost them a game at Aviva Stadium. They could have beaten Ireland for the first time ever at Aviva. Ireland coach Andy Farrell praised the side for the unbelievable character they showed in holding on to a nerve-wracking 2013 win over Italy in a thrilling Six Nations match. The Italians came up just short of recording their first ever Six Nations win in Dublin, but 2 second-half tries by the host, including one by man of the match Robert Balakoon, was enough to see them over the line. But he wasn't my man of the match. No. Anyway, so congratulations to Ireland. Uranium miners in Namibia are bullish on uranium production. The Rossing mine, Australian miner Paladin, is on track to complete the ramp-up of its Langer Heinrich uranium mine in Namibia to reach maximum output from July. Higher prices are accelerating investment in the mining sector. Spurred by a global push for nuclear energy and a potential supply shortfall, uranium prices surged to a 2-year high of $101 per pound in January, before dropping back to the $85 to $90 range. Of course, Namibia is the world's 3rd largest uranium producer after Canada and Kazakhstan. Yep. Last year, it topped 10,000 metric tons of uranium ore, commonly known as yellow cake. China National Nuclear Corporation holds a 25% stake in the Langer mine. Interesting. The Khoemacau eyes a further 200,000-ton expansion. Botswana's largest copper mine last week broke ground to double its output to 130,000 tons per annum. It's eyeing further growth of up to 200,000 tons annually based on ongoing exploration. Officials from MMG, which owns the company, said beyond this, the further potential 200,000 tons in copper and copper concentrate had been identified. Interesting. Cyclone Khisani kills 4 in Mozambique and Madagascar as they assess the damage. Powerful storm battered Mozambique's Inhambe a day after killing at least 41 people in Madagascar. My goodness. That's crazy. The toll in Mozambique on Saturday came a day after the cyclone tore through Madagascar, killing at least 41 people, leaving a trail of destruction. The French press agency said meteorologists said the storm lashed them with winds of 215 kilometers per hour. Brought down trees and power lines, leaving more than 13,000 people without power. Water supplies were cut off, and the city is home to 100,000 people in that town. Wow. They're only just now recovering from severe flooding that affected more than 700,000 people and damaged more than 170,000 homes in recent weeks, and now they get hit with this. Malawi is hoping to bring inflation below 21% this year. 21%. No, thank you. That sounds like Joe Biden range, man. You had a recent chat with Nick Mallett, who was interested to learn that Italy has such a low pool of eligible rugby players compared to most other nations. Well, that's interesting, Andrew. Why don't you put me in touch with Nick Mallett so I can interview him? Yeah, the Ireland-Italy game was a hard game to watch. Italy could have and should have won. I agree, Xavier. Yes, the Italians don't have a deep pool because it's not a popular sport in the country. And only recently did they start to fill the stands up in Treviso for Benetton and for Zebra Parma. Yep, only recently did Parma and Treviso start to fill the stands up. No, it's not a huge sport. Maybe it will gain now because the Italians are playing incredibly. They could have won it and should have won this game. Imagine that they would have been 2-0 in competition. That would have been amazing, and would have beaten the two of the 3 Celtic nations. And Wales would be. They should beat Wales, so they should get at least 2 wins out of this. Beating England is going to be tough, and beating France is going to be tough. This was their chance, and it's going to be tough for them. But Malawi hopes to bring inflation below 21%. 21%. Peter Mutharika on office once again. the brother of the deceased former president. This family likes to hold on to this country. The donor-dependent Southern African nation has struggled to rein in inflation, which currently stands at 26%, and their goal is to lower it to 21%. Mutharika returned to power in September on promises of reviving the economic fortunes after years of crisis. But it's not going to work so well. This is a country that's heavily dependent on foreign aid, much of which has been cut with USAID disappearing. So they have a long road to hoe. Well, Ethiopia has revoked the accreditation of Reuters journalists, and people are wondering why. What's that all about? The Ethiopian Media Authority has declined to renew accreditation for 3 Addis Ababa-based journalists from Reuters. They also revoked the news agency's accreditation to cover the 39th AU summit taking place yesterday and today. Comes days after the news agency published an investigative report that said Ethiopia was hosting a secret camp to train thousands of fighters for the Rapid Support Forces paramilitary group in neighboring Sudan. Ethiopia has failed to publicly comment on that. Hope you've seen the solution. Doug and Lisa Garden, Ramaphosa's last Sona statement. What is Doug and Lisa's Garden? And what, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, is that your channel? Oh, it must be your channel, Lisa. Okay. Yeah. So, Ramaphosa is calling for a ceasefire in South Sudan. Wow. We're caring about black people now, are we now, Cyril? After neglecting Africa for so long, you're focusing on Israel. Cyril Ramaphosa's call for a ceasefire in South Sudan. Well, thank you so much for that. What are they actually doing to contribute to a ceasefire? He emphasized the need for peace, sovereignty, and credible elections. Wow. What an amazing, groundbreaking thought. Peace, sovereignty, and credible elections. Wow, that's just, no one ever would have thought of that, Cyril. Thank you. Ramaphosa remarked on the AU's Peace and Security Council's report on the state of peace and security in the continent during the 39th Ordinary Session. The situation in Sudan remains of concern to all of us. We're talking about South Sudan, buddy. We reiterate our call for all warring parties to lay down their arms immediately, allow unfettered humanitarian access, and most importantly, embark on inclusive national political dialogue. With respect to recent political and security developments in South Sudan, the situation is concerning. We have called for a ceasefire of all affected parties and urge all stakeholders to engage in an inclusive dialogue that will pave the way for the future, for free, inclusive, and credible elections to end the long transition. Oh, is Cyril finished? Sorry. Yeah, Captain Obvious was busy telling us about South Sudan. Thank you. How much money have you put in there? How much diplomatic effort have you put in there? We put a ton in there. Well, Ghana now increased its gold output to 6 million ounces this past year. That's crazy. Produced a record 6 million ounces of gold in 2025, according to provisional data, with large-scale mines contributing 2.9 million, less than half. They say that next year's haul of 6.5 million this year is at risk because of an overhaul in mineral royalties. They want to take more money from producers. Record high bullion helped divert more artisanal gold supply into formal channels under recent reforms. Africa's top gold producer plans to replace its fixed royalty rate with a sliding scale 5 to 12% tied to gold prices. Ghana, like most African countries, is raising mineral royalties as governments seek to capture more revenue from their natural resources as commodity prices surge. But governments should have no say in this. That money should go to the people who own the land. Did you hear that? Africa's largest gold producer, not South Africa. Not even close. Thank you for the hoodie. It's a commemorative hoodie for the Vegas Sevens, which was canceled after that year. Las Vegas 10-year anniversary. Yep. And that was it. They did it for 10 years, and then they took it to Los Angeles, and they ruined it. So Sevens has been destroyed by the greedy people. Well, the Jeune Afrique, the Africa report, has revealed secret networks of influencers and travel agents sending Africans to the Russian front. Of course, this includes South Africa. Uncovered how Moscow, facing heavy loss in Ukraine, is using Russian Federal Security Service linked shell companies to recruit young men from Ghana, Kenya, Egypt, Cameroon, and other places like South Africa. That's the mother showing a picture of her son who was killed in the war between Russia and Ukraine. On the Ukrainian front, Russia is facing a manpower shortage. Over the 3 years of war, its army has suffered losses estimated 325,000, 1.2 million wounded, according to figures from the Center for Strategic International Studies. It's a void that neither reservist nor partial mobilization has been able to fill, so Moscow looked abroad to replenish its ranks. Since 2023, it's deployed its efforts towards the African continent, weaving vast networks of informal recruitment to do so. Congolese influencers, Mali intermediaries, and Kenyan travel agencies are being used by Russia to dangle scholarship and dream jobs before African youth in a search of opportunity. Once they arrive, many of these recruits are redirected to the army where they sign contracts, often without knowing what they're signing up for because it's in Russian. While the strategy, the underbelly of which was revealed by the Africa Report, an investigation published in October 2024, is now known, the extent of these recruitment networks and operations has remained fairly confidential. Egyptians, Cameroonians top the list of recruits. The Ukrainian project Kucha Zhit, I Want to Live, contained a list of 1,417 Africans hired by the Russian army to fight in the conflict. The data include names, countries of origin, service numbers, dates of birth for 316 people and the date of their death on the front. Egypt provided the highest number of soldiers overall from the continent. Wow, with 335. The highest sub-Saharan country is Cameroon, 335, followed by Ghana, 234, Gambians, 56, Malawians, 51. So this is the 1,417 known people recruited by Moscow. You can see South Africa is also on that list. 32 people identified. They say none from Botswana, but there was at least one. 6 from Zimbabwe, 335 from Cameroon, 234 from Ghana, and 361 from Egypt. So it's not just a South African phenomenon. We've been talking about this for a while. China says it will implement zero tariffs on imports from 53 African countries. I'll believe it when I see it. China will implement zero tariff imports from 53 African countries with which it has diplomatic relations starting on May 1st. China will also continue to push for negotiations, signing of joint economic partnerships, and further expand market access for African exports to China. Why do you need joint projects if you have no duties, no tariffs? Why do you need that? That information comes from Reuters. I'll believe it when I see it, folks. I'll believe that story when I see it. Well, corruption in Africa. Yes, it's an endemic. Progress and pitfalls country by country. The continent struggled to shake off the cancer of corruption, according to Transparency International's 2025 report. Some countries have managed to stand out. Here's a breakdown on the infographics. Corruption in Africa struggles to close the gap. The 2025 Corruption Perceptions Index by Transparency International covers 182 countries with a scale of 0 for highly corrupt to 100 for very clean. Let's take a look at Africa. South Africa, 41, very corrupt. Botswana, 58, relatively clean, and the best on mainland Africa. But 2 countries off the coast actually score better. Corruption Africa Index, here you go. South Africa, 41, Botswana, 58. Uganda, or Rwanda, also at 58, ties, those 2 ties. So Botswana used to be in the 60s, they've dropped. So here you go, corruption in Africa. Only 11 countries are above the global average. You can see all these countries in Africa, and we get down to the global average, which is right there. World average is 42. South Africa is below the world average. Ghana just scrapes by. Cote d'Ivoire, Sao Tome, Benin, Senegal, Namibia, Mauritius. You don't get to a 50 or better score till you get to Rwanda and Botswana on mainland Africa. Cape Verde and Seychelles, both island nations, score better at 62 and 68%. But of course, Botswana had the best reputation for being corruption-free for a long time. But it no longer is the case. Student with a 35 Rand super chat. Thank you for that. Didn't I turn that back on? I don't see it coming up. The alert box is on. The United States has transferred thousands of ISIS prisoners to Iraq from Syria as it abandons Syria. The move appears to highlight lingering doubts in Washington about the new Syrian government's ability to ensure security. So we're taking these criminals to Iraq. The Military Central Command said Friday that it completed the transfer of 5,700 ISIS prisoners from jails in Iraq from custody in Syria. Last month, as many as 7,000 prisoners will ultimately be moved to Iraqi-run facilities, and they would constitute most of the roughly 9,000 detainees held in Syria. We appreciate Iraq's leadership and recognition that transferring the detainees is essential to regional security. The transfer flights were conducted under the military's Operation Inherent Resolve, which is responsible for counterterrorism operations in the region. U.S. forces carried out 10 more strikes on ISIS targets in Syria overnight. U.S. forces began launching attacks in Syria after 2 U.S. soldiers and civilians were killed in an ambush on December 13th. On Valentine's Day, the U.S. Central Command delivered a heartful, warm-felt Valentine's Day greeting to ISIS terrorists. These latest strikes in Syria are part of a larger campaign dubbed Operation Hawkeye Strike, launched on December 13th in response to that. More than 50 ISIS terrorists have been killed or captured. Over 100 infrastructure targets have been struck with hundreds of precision munitions during the 2 months of targeted operations. According to Chancellor Friedrich Merz, the old order no longer exists. Yeah, but he's full of it. Friedrich Merz is full of it. Japan releases a Chinese boat captain after holding him for 30 hours. His arrest raised fears of broader diplomatic confrontation between Japan and China. A Chinese fishing boat was seized off the coast of Nagasaki on Thursday. They were probably spying. Japanese authorities Friday released a Chinese fishing boat captain after seizing his vessel and holding him for nearly 30 hours, a move that threatened to intensify tensions. Captain Zhang Nianli had been sailing a Chinese trawler with 10 crew members on Thursday near Japan's Goto Islands. He was arrested and accused of ignoring requests from Japanese authorities for inspection after entering Japan's exclusive economic zone. The crew remained on board the boat. Yusuke Onozawa, an official with Japan's fisheries agency, confirmed in a telephone interview that Mr. Zhang had been released. The seizure of the boat, the Guangdongju 11998, raised fears of a broader diplomatic confrontation. Well, that's what happens when you sail in people's exclusive economic zone. According to 5 European countries, Alexei Navalny was killed with a frog poison. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny was highly likely killed in 2024 by a toxin found in poisoned dart frogs. UK, Sweden, France, Germany, and the Netherlands are confident he was poisoned with a lethal toxin after confirming the presence of epipatine, which is not found naturally in Russia, based on samples taken from his body. Moscow rejects claims of that, and this denies Moscow's claims he died of natural causes. There's no innocent explanation for its presence in his body. He died at age 47 in Arctic prison, prompting suspicion his death was a result of a state-sponsored murder. Before his imprisonment, he was poisoned at Novichok, a banned nerve agent. The Russian denied any involvement. He underwent treatment in Germany, was arrested when he returned to Russia, which people said don't go back to Russia, but he was stupid and went back to Russia. Yep. UK court rules the Palestinian Action terror ban is unlawful. It's a big blow for the government, allowing a terrorist organization. The courts let it run. UK High Court Friday ruled the government's decision to ban activist group Palestine Action as a terrorist organization last summer was unlawful. The court found that then Home Secretary Yvette Cooper's decision to prescribe the group was disproportionate, raising questions about the arrest of almost 3,000 people at solidarity protests. But Judge Victoria Sharp ruled that the ban remains in place pending an appeal by the government. Human rights activists had argued the ban represented a sweeping overreach of government power, risked criminalizing political dissent, and set a far-reaching precedent for the use of anti-terror laws against protest movements. But there are terrorists. What's the problem? The co-founder of the group, Huda Amore, brought the illegal challenge against the British government. We are in a bit of a legal limbo at the moment, but this is a huge victory. It's only a matter of time before the ban is lifted for good. Well, we'll see. Thousands of people of conscience saw that branding protest as terrorism was a move just straight out of the dictator's playbook. Together we took action at great personal risk, inspired by each other's courage. No, you didn't. You invaded private property, you terrorized citizens, you shut down commerce, you acted like terrorists, and you were correctly labeled as terrorists by the government. And the fact that a cowardly judge is going to dispute that doesn't change the facts. Slovakian who wanted to go to Italy to watch the Olympics got himself arrested. A Slovakian man who was on the lam from Italian law enforcement for 16 years was arrested after going to the Olympics to watch ice hockey. On Wednesday, the 44-year-old man, as of yet unnamed publicly, went to Milan to watch the opening match of the Slovakian national men's hockey team in the Olympics versus Finland. Hotel staff alerted the Italian National Police, who showed up and arrested him. The man was wanted on a 2010 warrant in Bozen, 125 miles northeast of Milan, on charges of commercial theft. Italy's national police said the man will have to serve 11 months in prison plus 1 week for the shop thefts. So he shoplifted. He was on lam for 16 years. He would have served a week for shoplifting. Now he serves 11 months. On the ice, Slovakians won, upsetting Finland 4-1. Well, that didn't go so well. Former Norwegian leader is charged with corruption after the probe after his name showed up in the Epstein files. Norway's former Prime Minister Thorbjørn Jagland has been charged with aggravated corruption after a police probe into his alleged ties to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Wow. Norway's royal family battles scandals on multiple fronts, with charities this week moving to cut or review ties to the Crown Princess due to her past contact with Epstein, who died in 2019. My goodness, Norway's in a lot of trouble here. Newly released Epstein files also revealed extensive correspondence between Norway's crown princess Mette-Marit and Epstein, something the princess has expressed regret over years after he pled guilty to soliciting sex from a minor. Debbie Ackerman, thank you for the 14 Rand super chat. Ah, boy. Marco Rubio, U.S. will defend and renew Western civilization, ready to do this alone if Europe won't. I love it. Secretary of State Marco Rubio delivered a blistering speech Saturday in which he directly tied the shared history culture of Western nations to their collective security in the 21st century, telling European leaders the U.S. wants to renew transatlantic alliances, but sees partners proud of their heritage, not shackled by guilt and shame. Oh. Rubio was the highest-ranking American official to speak at this year's conference. His address, which comes in a moment of war between Ukraine and Russia and increasingly tense U.S.-European dynamics over matters such as the Trump administration push for control of Greenland, offered a big-picture, almost philosophical explanation. The fundamental question we must answer at the outset is, what exactly are we defending? Because armies do not fight for abstractions. Armies fight for a people. Armies fight for a nation. Armies fight for a way of life. And that is what we're defending. A great civilization has every reason to be proud of its history, confident in its future, and aims to always be the master of its own economic and political destiny. We are part of one civilization, Western civilization. We are bound to one another by the deepest bonds that nations could share, forged by centuries of shared history, Christian faith, culture, heritage, language, ancestry, and the sacrifice our forebears made together for the common civilization for which we have fallen heir. Under President Trump, the United States will once again take on the task of renewal and restoration, driven by a vision of a future as proud, as sovereign, as vital to our civilization's past. And while we are prepared, if necessary, to do this alone, it's our preference and it's our hope to do this together with you, our friends here in Europe. And this was in contrast to the scumbag who's the Chancellor of Germany, Friedrich Merz, who last Friday told the Munich gathering that the United States leadership was waning. The United States claimed leadership has been challenged and possibly lost, Merz said. In the great era of great power rivalry, the United States will not be powerful enough to go it alone. Yeah, we'll see, Mr. Merz. We'll see. We in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers the West managed to decline. We do not seek to separate, but to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history. We want allies who can defend themselves so that no adversary will ever be tempted to test our collective strength. This is why we do not want our allies to be shackled by guilt and shame. We want our allies to be proud of their culture and their heritage, who understand that we are heirs to the same great and noble civilization, who together with us are willing and able to defend it. And this is why we do not want allies to rationalize the broken status quo rather than reckon with what is necessary to fix it. Well said, Marco Rubio. I told people this is the guy. It's not going to be J.D. Vance. It's going to be Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, little Marco, has come a long way. Trump's relentless self-promotion fosters an American cult of personality. Oh, please. President Trump is engaged in a spree of self-aggrandizement, unlike any of his predecessors, fostering a mythologized superhuman persona and making himself the inescapable force at home and around the world. Peter Baker says the racist online video that Trump recently shared and then deleted generated bipartisan furor because of its portrayal of Barack and Michelle Obama's apes. What was little remarked on was how it presented Mr. Trump himself as king of the jungle, or the fact that Joe Biden was shown as a monkey. So he's white, so the people that called it racist are racist themselves. Picking the concept that black people are apes, that's what you conclude from this utter nonsense. Okay, what's World Championship Finals, USA versus Canada? Oh, they're talking about hockey, I think.
Shut out Canada 5-0, but when you do get to that championship round, that gold medal round, keep this in mind. It's not just that these two countries keep facing each other. It tends to be close. 12 of the last 14 championship meetings decided by a single goal more than half the time.
9 out of 14 went to extra time. Yeah, U.S. and Canada have been very closely linked in women's hockey. So we'll see what happens there. Anyway, so just want to go over that very quickly, check in on the Olympics. After a year back in the White House, Trump's efforts to promote himself as a singularly dominant figure in the world have become so commonplace it no longer seems surprising. He regularly depicts himself as a heroic, almost godly fashion, as a king, as Superman, as a Jedi Knight, as a military hero. Yeah, anyway, well, if you buy that stuff, then that's on you. Their feelings are hurt because Trump has an ego. All these people have egos. Anyway. New York Slimes. What else would they say? Well, as energy demand spikes in America, the U.S. nuclear energy industry faces looming crunch in reactor fuel supply. Experts are lauding a $2.7 billion outlay to rebuild the nation's capacity to enrich uranium, but warn it may take a decade for domestic production to meet the need. Wow. If America wants to lead in advanced reactors, we have to do the nuclear fuel here. Make no mistake about it. Right now, less than 1% of nuclear fuel that the nation's 94 commercial reactors annually consume is produced domestically, and that is exclusively dedicated to the Pentagon. The nation's commercial nuclear energy industry is completely reliant on foreign imports, primarily from Kazakhstan and Canada. Wow, of enriched uranium. And 5% of that comes from Russia, which won't be available soon. That's crazy. How do we become dependent on other people? We have uranium in America. I don't understand this. Automakers are putting the brakes on electric vehicle investment as federal subsidies stop. Oh, so you'll make cars and force us to buy them as long as we subsidize it with our tax. A few years ago, U.S. automakers were hailing their conversion electric cars, and market analysts were predicting exponential growth in electric vehicles amid the inevitable extinction of the gas-powered engine. Well, that was just because of the scumbags in the fake media and the fake government officials who were promoting this garbage, which is not economic and feasible. The internal combustion engine is here to stay. Executives from GM, Ford, Volkswagen, Mercedes, and Volvo pledged that their fleets will be 100% electric within a decade. I knew that was a joke. After President Trump ended the $7,500 electrical vehicle tax credit in September last year, the sales growth of electric cars in America went into reverse, falling from 234,000 units in the fourth quarter last year, down 46% compared to the prior quarter. But here's the thing. 18 million cars are sold in America every year. The best they ever got was 234,000 units in a quarter, so a little over a million of the 18 million cars sold here every year. American and European car manufacturers that bet heavily on EV transitions now licking their wounds. Ford, General Motors, Mercedes-Benz, and Volkswagen collectively lost $114 billion on electric vehicle ventures between 2022 and 2025. Adding a $26 billion write-down to its EV line announced by Stellantis on February 6th, that total now tops $140 billion in losses. Ford is canceling its flagship electric truck, the F-150 Lightning, having lost $13 billion since 2023. Whew. Man. The electric vehicle market in the United States was primarily created by government mandates and government subsidies, which means it wasn't real. It wasn't real. It's fake. It's fake. They're not feasible. They're not viable. They're not economically worthwhile. It's just a scam, and it's always been a scam that's been propped up by stealing tax dollars and burying our country in debt so people can have rich cars to feel good about themselves. Well, here's a school outside Minneapolis that is leading an insurgency against the rule of law. The small school district kept losing students to ICE, so it mobilized. Outside Minneapolis, the 5 schools in Columbia Heights have taken an aggressive approach to protecting immigrant families and their students. Make no mistake, we're not talking about immigrant families, we're talking about criminal alien invaders. This is a school that's out of control. These people should be decertified. First period was about to begin Tuesday when the phone rang at Columbia Academy. The parent of one of the school's middle school students had been detained by immigration authorities. The family needed help finding a lawyer. Why is the school providing lawyers? They arrived in dings on her phone and scratchy dispatch on her walkie-talkie and frantic calls to the office and whispers from children in hallways on emails on her sticker-covered laptop telling the latest number of students with at least one parent detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, 16, up from 10 the week before. The impact of the surge has saturated every aspect of the school day in Columbia Heights district of fewer than 3,400 students, half of them English language learners. Half of them English language learners. Taxpayers are funding half a student population of people who aren't even American. 7 students have been detained, including Liam Konya Ramos, the 5-year-old whose photo became a global symbol of crackdown sweep. No, that's because his father put him in that situation. Over the weeks, Columbia Academy, like the district's other 4 schools, had taken an entirely new identity. It was still a place of learning, even if 210 of its 700 students were now studying at home. But now it also became a food bank, a counseling hotline, a missing persons task force, an immigration resource center, and a refuge. So these are the Americans betraying America and undermining the rule of law. There's one of them right there. She outed herself in this article in the Washington Compost. That's Leslie Shirk, the first-year principal of Columbia Academy, which is running an anti-America immigrant scam scheme to bring criminal alien invaders into our midst and hide them and protect them. Yeah. We're the first call. They don't call the police. They don't sometimes even call their neighbors. They call the school. Because the school is a refuge for criminal alien invaders. Families were fearful. Didn't want the school to become a target. Yeah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, speaking of how things can change for the better, the role of the U.S. government finally doing its job protecting our borders is having a massive impact for a Texas town. Very good impact. After years of border crisis, a small Texas town is back to Mayberry. Locals reflecting years of illegal immigration that resulted in high-speed car chases, home break-ins, and school lockdowns. The chaos caused by millions of illegal immigrants flooding across the southwest border under the Biden regime left scars on this border town. The constant high-speed chases, buzzing helicopters, screaming emergency sirens, hurried school lockdowns, torn barbed wire fences, and decomposing bodies on ranches along the Rio Grande all took their toll on Texas towns near the Mexican border. They drained resources and changed the lifestyle of Bracketville, a little town with 2 traffic light intersections in Kinney County. Residents of the county and beyond said the madness stopped almost overnight after President Trump took office. Now they say the chaos of illegal immigration has just moved to the country's interior to places including Minnesota. Illegal border crossings plummeted to record lows since Trump took office. Kinney County Sheriff Brad Coe estimated 30 to 40,000 people per year moved through the county in 2022 and 2023. Images of illegal immigrants were caught on game cameras meant to give ranchers photos of deer and wildlife. If we hadn't stepped up when we did, in the way we did, I think we would totally destroy the county and had the wave of illegal immigrants continued. Bracketville sits on the border checkpoint on U.S. Route 57 past Eagle Pass and west of the Uvalde checkpoint, making it an ideal location for gotaways or illegal immigrants to evade capture. It's really a geographical thing with the checkpoint locations to some degree, says the county attorney. The depth of the problem along the smoking corridor was the subject of Epoch Times documented gotaways, the hidden border crisis. School lockdowns have all but stopped. During the border crisis, schools will sometimes have to lock down 2 or 3 times a day because smugglers bailing out of vehicles and running on foot through the town. A car of gotaways once jumped the curb into school grounds and the occupants fled. One illegal immigrant tried the gym doors to get inside the school. These kinds of chases turned deadly for residents because it sapped their town's resources. Here's a fence that's been cut by criminal aliens breaking into the country. We have a huge crasher pursuit 20-25 miles north of town. All the resources are out there. If an ambulance has been available on a fateful day in 2024, perhaps Bernacci's mother might still be alive. I try not to dwell on it because the only thing you can do is get really angry. His voice prickling with tears. Gloria Bernacci, who was in her 70s, died 2 years ago after suffering a stroke. There was no local ambulance available because it responded to a deadly crash involving criminal alien invaders. Likewise, rescue helicopters were tied up. State troopers chased a vehicle containing U.S. citizens and several criminal alien invaders in early March 2024. The vehicle rolled over, throwing people from the truck. 4 died. But Miss Bernacci, who didn't have access to an ambulance because the ambulance was responding to criminal alien invaders who shouldn't have been in the country, died from a stroke. It took a couple hours to get her to hospital in San Antonio. She never recovered the ability to breathe on her own, and she passed away on March 13th, 2024. They arrived an hour after the fact. Emergency calls have dropped 95% because the criminal aliens are no longer coming through there. Wanda Selby, 88, says she no longer feels the need to carry her Smith & Wesson when she goes for walks with her dog Lady. They're not just coming through like they were. She said in 2022 she stopped walking with her dog after striking conversation with a young Texas highway patrolman. He was parked along a rural road near a friend's ranch where she liked to walk. The lawman told her that 38 would not help her because human smugglers or coyotes working for the Mexicans carried AK-47s. So her 38 wouldn't have helped her. Ben Binion, 39, is a wildlife biologist who manages thousands of acres of ranch land outside Eagle Pass. At the beginning of 2021, the ranch became a superhighway for human traffickers, and they suffered at least $350,000 in damages. Many illegal immigrants would walk around the checkpoint east Eagle Pass, some using Farm Road 481, which is near the ranch, to head north. In an 18-month period between 2021 and 2022, at least 200 people per night came through the ranch. Once a week, they broke into houses, barns, and structures on the ranch. Binion held up his cell phone, rattling off 21 nationalities of people who had discarded their identification on the ranch. The list included people from all over the world. These are criminals who invaded America from Uzbekistan, Pakistan, China, Romania, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Venezuela, Haiti, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Congo, Egypt, Ecuador, Afghanistan, Nigeria, Jordan, Iran, Lebanon, Ukraine, and Angola. And he has a list of the dead bodies he found on his property. Groups of 8 or 10 young men would show up demanding food and a way to charge their phones. Constant traffic made hunting on the ranch dangerous. He said there's always a chance a legal immigrant might walk into line of sight when someone pulled the trigger to take down game. Wayne King, 74, has managed the ranch for 8 years, said the border crisis cost his ranch $300,000 lost exotic game animals that escaped through holes in the fencing cut by smugglers and illegal immigrants. He's fixed 450 holes along the ranch's 22-mile fence line. At 1:30 in the morning, he heard knocking at his door. He looked out to see a window to see 12 men in black camouflage sitting in his driveway. Jesus. Drain of resource and the effort to stop it has not really left. It just moved on to a place like Minneapolis. That's a border agent picking up 4 criminals. Selby said he doesn't understand the attacks against Immigration Customs Enforcement. I'm a patron. I believe the Immigration Customs Enforcement is trying to enforce the law. Or she wondered aloud why there are no protests or riots when Americans are raped or killed by illegal immigrants. Yep. She's worried that in 2028, this all could start all over again, depending on who gets elected. Yep. The dumbest invitation ever was the arrival of an anti-American scumbag who should be rejected and kicked out of Congress. None other than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She showed up at the Munich Security Conference accusing Trump of authoritarianism that puts the world at risk. Well, I accuse Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of being a dumbass of epic proportions who doesn't know her ass from a hole in the ground. But let's just go with that story. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez trod onto the international stage Friday at the Munich Security Conference where she condemned America's president as authoritarian. Why does she have 2 microphones? She has a microphone by her mouth and one by her ear. What's that all about? She participated in a panel on the rise of populism and called for a shift towards working class center politics and a shift away from President Trump. She said that Trump is tearing apart the transatlantic partnership and her party wants to get back to rules-based order that eliminates the hypocrisies. She cited U.S. actions in Venezuela and Greenland as examples of hypocrisy. Whether it's kidnapping a foreign head of state, no, that's extradition, dumbass. Whether it's threatening our allies to colonize Greenland, excuse me, colonize Greenland? Hey, dumbass, no one's trying to colonize Greenland. It's already been colonized by Denmark. It's a Danish colony. See how stupid she is? Whether it's looking the other way in a genocide, no, we're not. South Africans are being evacuated from South Africa. No one's looking the other way. Hypocrisies are vulnerabilities, and they threaten global democracies globally. I'm sorry, it was your party under Bill Clinton who ignored what happened in Rwanda when 850,000 people were unalived. Your party. It was your party under Clinton who ignored the genocide going on in Bosnia. Your party. Your party. Yeah, that's who it was. It was your party under Jimmy Carter who ignored what was happening in Iran. Yeah, okay. White House Deputy Secretary Press Secretary Anna Kelly said Ms. Ocasio-Cortez and fellow Democratic leaders have veered off course in Europe. Gavin Newsom and AOC should be fixing California and New York's many problems, but instead they're frolicking in Europe where no one knows who cares who they are. Exactly. My goodness. Anyway, idiots, Democrats. Don Lemon, oh boy, Don Lemonhead. Trump officials condemned Don Lemon. He's bigger after an arrest. Really? Is he bigger? I haven't seen him. The White House took a victory lap late last month and federal authorities arrested Don Lemon after he covered an immigration protest. And the caption, when life gives you lemons, along with the emoji for change. But nearly 2 weeks since he's taken into custody, Lemon has enjoyed a Trump. His new audience, galvanized by the arrest, has flooded his empire, earning him more than 300,000 new followers on Instagram, 140,000 new subscribers on YouTube. His Substack business has soared 73% to more than 140,000 subscribers, many of whom pay $8 a month to be part of Lemon Nation. Well, it'll be short-lived. It'll be short-lived. Soon he'll be in prison. Don Lemon pleads not guilty to his criminal act in violation of the FACE Act. Activist Don Lemon pled not guilty Friday to federal charges related to anti-immigration enforcement protests. First-time offenders can face prison sentence up to a year and a $10,000 fine for violating the FACE Act. Yep. So my entire career covering the news, I will not stop now. You've never covered the news. You just told us you're gay and you're proud of it. In fact, there's no more important time than right now, this very moment, for free and independent media that shines light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Except you didn't hold those accountable. You said you were in the church to make people uncomfortable, which is intimidation, which is a violation of federal law, which is a felony. Next. Idiot. Let's move on from that fool. The Federal Aviation Administration has mandated airlines affirm merit hiring. Carriers must formally certify race and sex-based hiring is ended or face potential federal investigation under new mandate. The FAA is issuing a new mandatory rule that requires all commercial airlines in the country to formally commit to merit-based hiring of pilots, according to a February 13th statement from the Department of Transportation. Under the new mandate, all U.S. carriers must certify that the practice of airlines hiring based on race and sex has ended or face a federal investigation. When families board their aircraft, they should fly with confidence knowing the pilot behind the controls is the best of the best. American people don't care what the pilot looks like or their gender. They just care that they are the most qualified man or woman for the job. 100% correct. And that's how it should be. Crew 12 astronauts have arrived at the International Space Station for an 8-month stay. Good luck with that, folks. NASA's SpaceX Crew 12 entered the space station 36 hours after liftoff. NASA astronauts Jessica Meir, Jack Hathaway, European Space Agency astronaut Sophie Audinot, Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexei Faddeev emerged from the Crew Dragon spacecraft at 5:31 Eastern Standard Time on Valentine's Day. Well, there you go. Well, the Washington Post has written an op-ed which criticizes Zoran the Moran, the Islamo-fascist mayor of New York City. Yeah, wow, that's shocking. Actually, the Washington Compost criticizing him, finding that his promises can't be fulfilled because he's an idiot. Now that he's actually paying the bills, the mayor realizes a rental assistance program he promoted won't work. Zoran the Moran is happy to promise lower rent for New Yorkers on the campaign trail, but now he's stuck with the bill. The socialist dipshit seems to be walking back a campaign promise to expand the city's billion-dollar rental voucher program. The City Fighting Homelessness Eviction Prevention Supplement was launched in 2018 to keep low-income New Yorkers out of shelters by subsidizing their housing at the expense of other New Yorkers. The program's cost has ballooned from $25 million to more than $1 billion, making it one of the nation's largest rental assistance programs. Growing costs didn't deter Gotham City's council from expanding eligibility. Former Mayor Eric Adams refused to implement the prolific expansion, setting off a court battle. The truth is the vouchers failed to reduce demand for shelter. Exactly. The expanded program would cost $17 billion over 5 years, according to a separate report. And it makes sense for the city facing $7 billion budget shortfall to limit funding to a program that isn't achieving its objectives. So the program didn't reduce shelter demand. It simply took money out of the pockets of taxpayers to give to people and subsidize their housing. And the Washington Post, for once, tells the truth. Shocking, to say the very least. That concludes today's news, folks. Thank you for being on the program. Let's check in on what's going on at the Olympics here. And we got, is it the skeleton? That looks like, is that a man or a woman? Got a man's build. Looks like a man, but it's got a woman's bum. I think it's a woman. We have a black Italian here. Italians aren't black. Yeah, it's women's skeleton. Man's body, but that's a woman's bum. Yep. So it looks like the Italians are doing well in this race. So the Olympics, the Norwegian is just killing it, man. He's got a chance for 2 more gold medals. He's already got 9. Could get 11 if he does well. That 50-kilometer one has got to be exhausting. I can't imagine what that's going to be like. I can't imagine. So we got, is this a skeleton again? Who's this, Curtis? Mixed team. Mystique Rowe and Austin Florian. So we got a mixed team coming here. So that's why I saw a man. It's a man and a woman. I guess they run separately and then they count their times together.
Of her individual comp. Here is
we
the
go.
31-year-old, her first ever Olympic Games. She's ready to start.
Skeleton. And she's off.
Mystique Rowe, let's go.
Mystique Rowe, she's out of the gate. And she's not a particularly good skeleton rider, but we'll see how it goes. U.S. does not do well in this game. She is only 0.2 hundredths of a second off the top speed right now. That's actually pretty good. I don't know how many people run this mixed skeleton team. Of course, the men's total, I guess, gets added to this. So she's not 0.3 hundredths of a second. She lost a hundredth of a second there, but that's still pretty close. And let's see where this puts her. She comes around 30 seconds off the clock now. Now she's ahead. Whoa, Mystique Rowe and with her teammate, they're actually ahead of the pace now. No way. Could we get a medal in this event? Let's not get too excited. We never do medal in these events, rarely. Now she's 0.12. She's gaining speed on the down part. Mystique Rowe is pouring it on here. Can we do this? She's coming across the finish line, and she's picking up speed still. Now she's 0.18 ahead of the pace. Unbelievable, but she's losing a little control in the top there. Banking in. How's she doing across the finish line? And she is in first place. Wow. The Americans go into first place in the skeleton race. This is shocking. 0.19. But how many pairs are yet to go? That is an amazing run. Mystique Rowe. Brilliant job.
First Olympic Games experience.
But that won't stand, I'm sure. Wow.
Mystique, you're an Olympian forever.
Wow, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So let's see how that holds up. That's incredible, man. Wow. Mystique Rowe and her partner in the mixed team have come in first place at the moment. I don't know how long that'll last, but that's exciting. She's pretty chuffed. You can see her. That's the Chinese. And so what happens in skeleton is the lead goes up to the stand and they stay in the leader's position. So she's going to take that over from the Chinese. Wow. It's her first Olympics. She's 31 years old. She won the world championship for mixed skeleton last year, so that's amazing. Now, here's her partner, Austin Florian, who is 31 from Connecticut. His first Olympics, two-time American alpine skier. He's an engineer, so he's going to run this now. 6'2", he's my height.
Here supporting him, so the roar of the crowd when he begins.
Let's see if he can keep up Mystique. If he can keep up Mystique's.
Already at these games, he's just focusing
Here we
on
go.
the drive the rest of the way.
And off he goes.
The former skier, now slider, Austin.
Former skier, now slider, Austin Florian. Here he goes down the pace. Let's see if how he can do. Oh, and he and his teammate are now 0.4. He's picked up speed in the top. He's adding to Mystique Rowe's speed, cutting it down. An incredible start. Let's see how he does in the second turn. And he's going even further. Nearly half a second, 0.48 seconds. The Americans are surging. Can he keep it up? Coming out of the turn, beautiful out of the turn here, sweeping around another beautiful turn. Not going half a second, 0.51. Every inch he's gaining speed. Coming down the track he comes for the skeleton race, mixed team. 0.5 seconds. Lost 1/100 of a second there, but still half a second ahead of the Chinese team. Coming down, how's he doing? Almost to the finish. Now he lost 0.8 of a second. 0.08 of a second, I should say. Is he going to, I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on here. He lost some speed there. It's close. Oh, and he finishes 0.27 ahead. Oh, he increased her lead. He is chuffed. Look at him pounding his fist.
That is a new track record.
It's a track record. He just said a track record. No way.
In the green is going to continue to be a new track record.
Wow. Incredible stuff. USA is a chant. The time is 2 minutes and 39 seconds. A track record. Wow, that is incredible.
So important to have that support at the top and in the finish house.
My goodness, he was fast out of the gate. He lost a bit of speed coming down at the end, but he lost about 0.25 seconds total of what he gained. But I don't know where he lost that. It looks like it's right there. But that was an incredible start. He was brilliant out of the gate. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. The Americans that don't do well in this sport typically, but this was amazing. Wow. Let's see how that holds up. So now he and his teammate, Mystique Rowe, will be in the lead, go up to the lead podium. They stay there. That's how it works in skeleton. So, wow, that is so cool. Like I said, I don't know if we'll hold up on this, but we're going to see. What's he doing here? Okay, they went to commercial, so that's the end of that for now. That was exciting. Love the news. Don't have news on weekdays, and even weekdays coverage isn't great, giving a comprehensive view of everything. Well, you're welcome, Karen. Thank you. You're great. Well, thank you, Martin. I was a disc jockey. The commentary was exciting. Well, thank you for that. Yep. All right, David had to leave. So to Utopi shows how useless super sport is nothing about the Winter Olympics. Well, that's because there's only 6 South Africans in the Olympics. Who doesn't love ice? Yeah, I love ice. Ice, ice, baby. Hey, Mandy, what's going on? Castro Samaya, but Italian version, okay. Pam Bondi is smoking, says Alan. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for the news. It was very informative, educational. You're welcome, Spartan God. What's your thoughts on Pam Bondi? Can't figure out if she's doing a good job or not. I don't think she's doing a particularly great job. I'm disappointed that no one is going after the scumbags in the Biden administration who silenced our speech by colluding, cajoling, or coercing tech companies to silence our social media accounts during the Biden regime. Those people violate the First Amendment and need to be prosecuted, but nothing is being done. Born in Pretoria with a surname, Dutch ancestry, moved to Durban. My mom's parents taught us English Afrikaans at an early age. Okay. Donna Lemonhead. Okay. That's why I want to see Valentina Gomez in Congress. Imagine Nancy Mason on steroids. I don't know who that is, Alan. AOC is not very clever. Nope. Watch Marco Rue's speech. It's a must-watch. Well, I will watch NMK's Interior. I watched the Belofteland when I spoke. It was pretty incredible. Next time Lefty tells me I have hurt feelings, I'll just say sorry that you have feelings. Again, I love ice poster. How would you think the partial shutdown affected after Pride? Doesn't appear to be affecting it so far, Jakes. It doesn't appear to be affecting it, but we don't know if people have been flying. So, yep. Most of border history is removed from museums across the country. That's true. Okay. To be fair, so is the corn farming industry with all the subsidies still this day pushing unhealthy corn syrup. Oh, yes, 100%. No, between ethanol and high fructose corn syrup, not good. Subsidizing corn is a bad idea. Francis kicks out his asses because he gets 70% of the uranium from Niger. Looking at getting South Africa now. Yep. Can imagine, as we said, AOC looked like a fool when asked if the U.S. should develop Taiwan. It was clear she had no idea what was going on there. No, she doesn't, because she's a moron. Yep. I don't know about Tommy Robinson. I haven't heard anything on that. Hey, the Afro-Americana online from Bangkok, Thailand. Okay. Nice to see you there. Debbie, thank you for the super chat. Sent you an email, says Bronwyn. Okay. Okay. Thank you for the email, Bronwyn. Okay, we got another race coming here. The Koreans are 1.4 seconds behind the pace. Not going to finish on top of it. Let's do the rest of the races that come down here.
Such an enormous boost.
Hong and Young. 1.42 seconds going into the turn. Not really picking up any speed. At 139 is the mark. And 140. And a foot drug. Now it's lost more speed. 1.36. Got the left foot dragging, trying to alter the path of the sled coming down. So they are at 150, 1.21, picked up a little bit of that lost time, but not going to finish well. And 2 minutes coming down to a full 1 minute, 1 second. Tinky Keyser, thank you for the 35 Rand super chat. A full 1 second, 1.06 off the mark in fourth place. USA remain in first place. This is incredible. Can the USA win a gold medal in skeleton? I'm not going to hold my breath, but that would be a medal. Any medal would be fantastic, but a gold medal would be just lights out incredible. It would be shocking, to say the very least. South Korea now in fourth place. Yeah, so wow, that would be crazy. You going to King Edward tomorrow? Oof. Okay, Charles. Yeah, so the Koreans, I don't know how many, let's take a look at let me get the results. Okay. Olympics results. Let's see where we're at in this race, okay. So the alpine skiing, Brignoni from Italy, the one who had the big wipeout last year, she got gold. And then Hector from Sweden got silver, and Stjernson got silver. They had 2 silvers award. I guess the time was exactly the same. That's incredible. No bronze medal. That's incredible. Alpine skiing. So the biathlon, Vitozzi from Italy, women's pursuit got gold. Kikarita from Norway got silver, and Minkinen from Finland got bronze. The men's biathlon pursuit, Sweden first, Norway second, France third. Bobsled, after the final heat, Humphreys, United States, is in first place. Wow. That's a women's bobsled final heat in first place. We had 2 Americans. K-Love was in third after final heat, but now in the final heat 2, the Americans are still in first place. Wow. Yeah, that's Frederica Brignoni got her 2nd Olympic gold medal. That's incredible. Giant slalom. That's amazing. That's crazy. So we have Olympic hockey coming out, and the U.S. men are playing Germany a little bit later on. Women's ice hockey bracket, USA versus Sweden in the semifinal, and Canada versus Switzerland. So all things being equal, it looks like it's going to be USA and Canada in the final, unless upsets occur here. Interesting. Frederica, what's this? This is Michaela Schifrin. What's she got to say?
Relatively small, but the damage that was done was so significant. Like, to
all right, that's chatting away, nothing. Italy's Federica Brignoni crossed the finish line for a second time Sunday in the women's giant slalom. Swedish skier Sarah Hector and Norwegian Thea Louisa Stjernsson fell to their knees and bowed before the Queen of Olympia del Tofani. Brignoni won her second gold medal. So team relay and skeleton, USA is currently in first place.
In mixed team
China
relay,
second, USA third.
Mystique Rowe and Austin Florian with a track record stay on top and in the leaders box for now. Italy has
a team coming up now. Let's see how they do. So she won her second gold medal of the Olympics, adding the Super G to her giant slalom today and the Super G from Thursday. The golds come less than 10 months after she shattered her left leg in a crash, tearing her ACL and fracturing 2 bones. Wow, crazy. Michaela Schifrin was the top American finisher in 11th with a total time of 2:14.42. Wow. Schifrin did not do well. Incredible. So 26 racers finished. The last place was Canada. Any unusual ones here? Albania finished 16th. There you go, Albania. You don't usually hear that. Yep, anything else unusual? Incredible. So, wow. Now we've got Finland racing, it looks like, based on the helmet. I can't see. I thought it was Italian, but no, it's Italy. Okay, so the Italians are coming down. His reaction time is pretty good. This is Fumagallia and Bagnes, and they're slightly behind the pace, but lots of time to pick that up at 0.07 of a second off the pace as they come down the track. Whipping around now, Fumagallia and Bagnes, and they're 0.15 off the pace, twice as much time lost now as the start. Unless something dramatic happens, the Americans will remain in first place, but that third place finish is in jeopardy here now. He's picked up 0.03 of a second at minus 0.12. He's 0.12 seconds off the pace. Little bouncing around going on there. Oh, he's picking up. Could take the lead here. He's cut it to 0.04. 0.04 of a second. The Americans are in jeopardy now of losing that first place unless he loses some more time here. Now he's ahead. The Italians are ahead. They're picking up speed at the bottom. Oh my goodness. Could the Americans fall off the pace?
advantage position.
He's coming around. He's going to get there. And he's in first place. The Americans dropped a second with a new track record.
35/100ths of a second.
Wow. Huge pickup of speed. Really gained a lot on the back end of that. And they're now in first place. The Americans dropped to second place. Another track record set here. Boy, the men are really bringing it home for these skeleton teams. Man, that woman's got a bum on her. These tight suits definitely accentuate the bum. Unbelievable. So the Americans dropped to second place there. Ah, bummer. That kind of sucks. Hoping to see them do better. Anyway. Have a good night, says Martin. Well, Congress overturned President Trump's tariffs on Canada. No, they didn't, Alan. No, they didn't. Saying the Senate voted for it? That doesn't mean anything. So the Americans move off the top podium now. And the other Americans move into fourth place.
They've been overtaken.
I don't look too thrilled about being overtaken. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. They're still in medal position. Silver at the moment. Anyway, so what do you think of a 2007 Lexus 400? I can't answer that question, James. I don't know what the car looks like. I don't know what conditions on. How many miles are on it? Where are you buying it from? What's the provenance of the vehicle? You know, how much they want for it. I have a 2004 SUV that has less than 100,000 miles. I bet you someone would give me $8,000 for right now. The thing is cherry condition, so that's worth it. Yep. So Well, the Senate has to vote for this. The Senate hasn't voted on it, so I don't know what you mean. Oh, here it is. No, that's October. They have to override Trump's veto. Trump has to sign that, and he's going to veto it. There's no way. They have 2/3 in the House and Senate, so it doesn't matter. It's just virtue signaling, a bunch of losers. It's not how you start, but it's where you end in the end. Okay. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here, okay? And we're going to be done with this stream. I'll be back in the next hour with the Cafe Clutch for those who are interested, okay? Be sure to hit the like button if you don't mind. How are we doing here on likes? 377 likes. A little bit of super chat. Boy, super chat's really dropping off. Kind of reward for the team that promotes wokeness the best. USA might be running for that as well. I don't know, Jakes. There's no reward for that stupidity. And I don't think the USA is leading in wokeness. The Europeans are pulling that off with a plum. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you on the Cafe Clutch if you want to show up for that. All right, bye-bye.